for the people that are at work. Amy's a nurse. She couldn't be on. Like, there are just, jobs and life. But I'm so excited. Like, you guys are both newer challengers too. And so I don't ever want anyone to think that I'm like finding people to help in their health and fitness just so I can recruit them to be coaches, because people like do think that about MLMs. But for me personally, both things just went hand in hand. I was a challenger first. So today I just kind of want to tell you a little bit about my story, how I became a coach, how God used my struggles to just develop something within me, a passion, a purpose, and eventually a business that changed my life. And I honestly just ask you guys, like, if you're watching it live or if you're watching the playback, it doesn't matter. Like, I want to ask you to kind of just like get rid of any preconceived notions that you might have about coaching. If you know somebody who's been a coach, some people watching this have actually been a coach before and they stepped away from it for a while. And they're just here to kind of figure out what my team would be like. And so, like, I really ask you just to do away with any preconceived notions and just listen to my story and just listen to what God has done in my life and figure out if it could be a good fit for you. Okay, so I'm going to get started, but I am Rachel Mitchell, and most of you guys I have met through social media at this point. When I was a brand new coach, the first people that I helped were definitely like my family, my friends, my college roommate, my high school friends, things like that. But as my business has grown and as I've learned a lot of things, I've learned how to use social media as a good tool to actually reach people who need help all over the place. And that's a really cool thing about Beachbody is that, we are not just in North America, we're not just in the United States, we're in Canada and the UK, and we're actually launching in other countries. But it just blows my mind how a little Mississippi girl who was like really not good at anything before has been able to form such a huge community. And I'm just very thankful for it. So where was I 5 years ago? I've been a coach for 5 years this month, actually. And so my story starts a little bit before that. At 33, I had 2 beautiful babies. I had, Henry was 4 and Milo was 2. And, I had a wonderful husband. I had a good job as a college history instructor. And so like, I just kind of feel like I checked all the boxes in my life. I had a job with a retirement plan and with health insurance. I had a sweet husband and I had 2 perfect kids, right? So, I found myself in the spring of that year really struggling with a lot of things, struggling with health. My cholesterol was crazy high. It had been high before children. I'd actually been on medicine for it. My hormones were out of control. Guys, like if you look up PMDD, premenstrual dysphoric disorder, like there should be a picture of me. Okay. I fit every symptom of that, like anger, moodiness, depression, like overeating, things like that. And so it was all coming back after I'd had my babies and nursed them, and my body was going back to normal, but it wasn't going back to normal. I was gaining weight. And I was very uncomfortable. I was very lacking confidence in what I looked like and who I was and what I was doing. And I was extremely unhealthy. We were in debt. I was honestly too beginning to find myself a little bit bored, not with my family, not with that part of my life, but with my job and just like, what was I showing up to do every day? Like I was driving 2 hours a day to go to my job. I was not the one who was I didn't get to take my kids to school or pick them up. They were in daycare at that point for most of the day, and I was doing a job that I wasn't really and truly that passionate about, and I wasn't making that much money, and neither was Matt. So it all just kind of came to a head and a point where I feel like God just really got my attention, because while I was also am a believer in Christ, I'd been a follower of his since I was 24, I was also kind of to a point in my faith where I wasn't growing, and I didn't really recognize that until later. So I always say God got my attention with the scale. Okay, as embarrassing as that is, honestly, that was the biggest thing that caught my attention. The scale kept going up. I kept gaining weight. I was running 6 miles some days. I was running 2 miles other days. I was a big runner. I didn't really have time for the gym, but I could go run, right? And I was just gaining weight, and I was very uncomfortable with myself. And so one day when I was sitting in my office, I Googled portion control because I knew that my body what I was feeding it was not right. And I knew that if I could figure out what to eat and how much to eat, that I'd probably see some change, right? So obviously when you Google portion control in 2014, 21 Day Fix came up. I say obviously, I didn't know that at the time. I didn't know anything about Beachbody. But that's what came up. I ordered the program. I skipped Shakeology because I thought it was stupid. I thought I'm not paying for powder, right? So I skipped over it. I didn't have a coach. I just bought the program, put the DVDs in, did them, measured out my food, and it worked. Like it worked. And so I was like, okay, I can do this. So maybe I should find some more help or some more meal plans. And I found my coach and I found her blog and I found that she was running a challenge group. And I was like, okay, like I can do this, but I'm not going to be able to do it long term by myself. I need in this group. I filled out her application like swiftly, and she responded within 24 hours, and she even let me into her challenge group without all the stuff that she normally would. And again, I look back and I see God just like stacking these bricks, and you know, this was his roadmap to where he was getting me to be. Little did I know. Okay. So when I did the 21 Day Fix too, now my coach was not a faith-based coach. She's still not really, she doesn't run her groups based on faith, and you know, and that's totally okay. I was still very grateful for what she was doing and her help and the community. Like there was women in there who were struggling with the same things I was struggling with, who were doing the same workouts I was doing, who were tired and had little kids. And it was just like, wow, this is cool. Like to be a part of this. And so my coach, just doing her job, reached out to me a couple of months after I had been in her group, actually probably like within a month. And she asked me if I wanted to be a coach. And I was like, no. I'm just trying to figure out if I can do this myself, right? And I didn't know anything about social media. I had no Instagram following. I used Instagram just for the filters. Like I didn't even have followers. I had like 150 friends on Facebook. And I was like, I am not about to start posting a sweaty selfie and, you know, talking about anything, right? So she asked me a few times. I actually listened to a call very much like this a couple of times. And I just kept telling my husband, I was like, I just feel like God wants me to do this. Like I couldn't explain it. I was not as close to him now as I am now, but I just knew that like there was this feeling in my gut. I kept feeling pulled to it and called to it. And I even told him, I was like, Matt, I don't want to do it. Like I don't want to coach. But I feel like if I don't, then I am going to just really mess up and go somewhere I'm not supposed to go, right? So I said yes. Okay. I said yes. I said yes to eventually like finding a purpose and a calling that I didn't even know I had. I wasn't even capable of. I said yes to getting outside my comfort zone. I said yes to long-term health. I knew that if I was a coach, that would help me with accountability in my fitness. If I was posting about my workouts, if I was sharing it, if I was encouraging, if I was inviting other people to do it with me, then I was going to be a whole lot more likely to stick with it than if I didn't. Because girl, like I was a quitter. Like I was such a quitter. I was that girl who started something and then quit it like within 3 months, right? And so I was like, I have got to stick with this. I have no choice but to take care of myself. If I don't, it's not just me anymore. It's my family. It's my husband, right? And they deserved a healthy mom and a healthy wife. So initially that was my motivation. And I thought if I try Shakeology and get it paid for the first month, or, you know, earn a little bit of money, then, you know, I can't really lose doing this. And so I said yes. And I joined my coach's training group. Her new coach training it was very much like what I teach today, except a few things have changed. And I just every day woke up and did what she told me to. And so pretty quickly, I really realized that not only was this helping me, but just by posting a selfie, just by posting, you know, we didn't have stories then. We just had pictures and you know, like Instagram feed, but just by showing up in some way every day, like I was inspiring people to do the same thing. And, you know, I started to invite people to my challenge groups. I started to run challenge groups, which was extremely scary, even though my coach told me exactly what to do. I was so afraid of letting people down that I really let that hinder me a little bit in the beginning. But really quickly, as I started to run my own groups, I realized there was a missing link. Like just like me, I didn't know. I never thought about asking God to help me with my workouts. I never thought about asking God to help me have more self-control in what I eat. I mean, I'm a Southern girl. They don't teach that here. They teach you to eat. And so like I pretty quickly realized that what I put into my body was a reflection of what I believed about myself and what I believed about my creator, right? And so I was like, I can teach that to other women. Like, I can teach that to other women. And I started to get really excited about it. And so my job simply became, in the little hours that I had to work this around momming and teaching, my job became like, how can I get my message or God's message out there to women? And how can I start these challenge groups and just find 3 people every single month that want to do this with me? And that's what I did. And it was messy. There were lots of twists and turns. I didn't do it perfectly. There are things I look back and I'm like, oh my gosh, I just close my eyes and I think, oh, Rachel, that was so awful. I see some of my posts pop up and I just laugh. But with every step that I took, every day that I woke up and my feet hit the floor and I said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go help somebody today. Even if I just inspire somebody with a post, like, that's doing something with purpose, right? And so with every action step that I took, like, I grew, I got better. I learned, I failed a lot, but I got better. And so one of my fears is that people see me today and they think, oh, she just knows how to do this. She was made to do this. She's just like, she's got it all together. And that I've just always done it, but I haven't. I haven't. Everything that you see me today, from posting to Instagram to running a challenge group to knowing how to use these different apps and social media and the confidence, like, I didn't have any of it when I started. And I know that may be hard to believe, but I am not lying at all. I had nothing. I have learned everything as I have grown my business along the way. And that's my job now. Like, that's my job, to teach other women. Like, I have such a vision for helping the Rachels of the world 5 years ago to come out of their shell, to come out of that complacency in their health, in their relationships, in their faith, and to teach women how to build a business that not only is a business that pays income, but a business that really gives a sense of purpose and just an opportunity to continually be learning something new and trying something new and going different places and just linking arms with the most incredible people in the world. And so, like, when I tell you, like, I wanted to get on here and talk about my vision for my team and talk about, what God has done for me, like, that is not just something to draw people in and to get you on a call and to get people to sign up for as a coach. Like, I want to work with women who could be passionate about the same things. Women who are passionate about, spending time with God first and saying, hey, God, what do you want me to do with this business today? I want to work with women who are willing to maybe cut out some TV, cut out something so that they can work their business a couple hours a day, right? I want to work with women who maybe need some income to replace a part-time or full-time job. I want to work with women who maybe need the income to take their family on a vacation, or even just women who want to have something to call their own. Because I will tell you, not complaining in any way about my life before I was a coach. Like I said, I was so blessed. I still am. But I am a woman who thrives on doing something, doing it well, and then being compensated in some way for it, whether it's by blessing someone else or by income or getting a little prize in the mail or earning a free trip for my family. Like, that motivates me to do something and do it well. And like I said, I didn't know how to do any of it 5 years ago, but now I do get to teach other people what to do. And there are a lot of different coaches out there. There are a lot of different Beachbody coaches. There are a lot of different MLMs out there. And I know that they tend to have a bad reputation, but I want to tell you this, like, I want you to think about, like, what drew you to me? Like, what was I posting? What did I say in our messages? Was it genuine? Did you feel like you were being sold to? Hopefully not, because I don't teach my team just to, like, grab a bag of Shakeology and post a picture with it, right? Like, I teach my team how to duplicate what I do, but in your own words. I teach my team how to take your story, whether it's messy or whatever it looks like, and turn it into a message of hope, because there are other people out there who are struggling with the exact same things that I was struggling with 5 years ago. Women who are struggling with the exact same things that you are struggling with right now. I remember whenever I've really sensed God telling me to to share about my struggle with bulimia in college. That was not something I wanted to talk about. That was not something I wanted to put out there on social media. That was not something I wanted to capitalize on in any way. But I knew that I needed to tell it. And when I told it, first of all, I buried it in my blog because I didn't really want to talk about it publicly. But when I really started to talk about it, like I got more messages from women who said, Rachel, like, thank you. Thank you for sharing that, because I have never told anybody about it. But now I feel like I can actually like say it out loud and then get past it. Right. And so there's so much purpose here, and your story has such a purpose, whether you believe it or not. God has created you. I always say this out loud. God has created you on purpose, for a purpose, to serve someone else. Now, it can sound really feelsy. It can sound really like, all fluffy and filled with faith, but it's work. Like, what I do is absolutely work. In the beginning, I had 2 hours a day. I had 2 hours a day to work my business around my job and my family. What did that look like? I got up a little bit earlier. And I would do my workout and do my devotion time. And then I would answer some messages or post in my challenge group or, follow some new people on social media, right? And then I had to rush off to work, get my kids ready as much as I could, then get to work. On my commute to work, I would listen to personal development. That's like a book like The Compound Effect or The Slight Edge or something that just helped me grow as a business owner. And then I had to teach. I had to do my job. And so I would have to wait until lunchtime. And then instead of going to the mall or whatever it was, or shopping online that I did on my lunch break, I used that time to build my business. And I would send messages to people. I would reach out to people who were following me, who were liking my posts, and now like people who view my stories. And so like that's how I started to build a following and help people that I didn't know when I started coaching. And so then I would come home, I would get my kids, we would do our thing at night. And then after they went to bed, I would respond to messages, help people get signed up. I would check in with my challengers again, and I would think about what I wanted to post the next day. And so that is how I built my business. And then slowly, ever so slowly, it grew. It grew and it grew and it grew to where I am today. And, like I was thinking about this as I was thinking about what to talk about. And I don't ever want to think that anyone to think I'm just motivated by income. But this is a business that you don't get paid if you don't help people. Like, you don't get paid if you don't help people get fitness results. You don't get paid unless you help someone build a business, right? So it's not one of those scams that if somebody tells you it's a pyramid scam, they don't know what they're talking about because they're illegal. And that is not what this is, right? It's a business built on helping other people. And that's my job every single day. It's to help the woman following me on social media to realize she has hope. It's to help my challengers get results. It's to help my team members hit their own goals. And that's what I get to do every single day. But my income has grown as a direct reflection of the work that I put into this business. Okay. And so I get to give myself a raise every single month. You guys, I've been a teacher for 8 years, and most years I'm lucky if I get a 1% raise. Okay. So like I get to determine how much money I want to earn, and how many people I get to help. And I think that's a huge blessing, but it is a reflection of the work that I do every single day. And so I am just here to absolutely teach people how to duplicate my success, how to duplicate my systems, and I teach all of that through my new coach training. So if you decide to become a coach, if you decide that this sounds like something that you could be passionate about, that you could actually like do and you could fit into your life, and get excited about, I have a brand new, every month I run a new coach training. It's called my Business Builders Academy. And in that training, I teach you those things. I teach you, things about how to use social media. That's not really a bad thing necessarily. It's something that we can use for good. It's something that we can use to share, our faith and just encouragement and just about craziness of life, right? I teach about how to invite people to our boot camps. I teach you how to run your own boot camp when you get to that point. You don't have to run your own at first. You can invite people to mine, but I do teach my coaches to run their own within a few months so that you are the leader and you help your people get results. I teach you things like about Success Club. That's our goal every month, of helping 3 people get started. I teach you things about volume and how to grow your income, and all those things that I didn't know in the beginning. Like, all that stuff is teachable. I am just looking for women who could get passionate about doing this as well, and get passionate about joining a team of women who are doing these things. And that is what I'm looking for. I can answer all your questions about the nitpicky things about the business details in detail. And I'll send you a document after this to your email, with a lot of those details about the nitpicky things about coaching, right? But before I wrap up, because I did promise to keep this at like 30 minutes, I want to just tell you briefly, like, we have this thing every week in our business Beachbody does. It's called a National Wake Up Call. And it's a coach call every week. It's a training call on Mondays, where a coach in this business who's doing pretty well shares their story. And it's usually targeted towards new coaches. And there's always some training involved, but it's always very inspirational. And honestly, it helped me stay focused in the very early stages of my business, and still does today. But at the end, they're always ask them, so how did Beachbody change your life? And so, like, I love to tell how, I don't say Beachbody a lot, but it is an incredible company, great leaders, and it's Beachbody is not my life, but Beachbody has allowed me to live my life better, and it's given me a platform to share Jesus, to be much bolder in my faith. It's given me an opportunity to earn an income that has brought me home to my family. It's given me an opportunity to meet some of the best friends that I've ever had in life, honestly, to travel the world, to do all these things. But it's also something that God used to make me healthier. I mean, from the inside out, to make me healthier. My hormones, my cholesterol. I don't have to take any medicine for my cholesterol. Shakeology helps both of those things. And so, like, I encourage women to drink Shakeology, not just because it's part of my job, but it's part of my job because I believed in it first, right? And so that I get to do something I believe in so much every single day just floors me. It's made my relationship stronger. It's made me more confident in myself, inwardly and outwardly, with my husband. In my parenting role, you guys, like, I don't take for granted that my kids get to see me work hard and understand that good things don't happen without a little sweat equity, right? Our world does not teach that today. It does not teach hard work. It teaches take the easy road. Somebody's going to take care of you if you don't do the work. But I get to show them every single day that, yes, mommy works hard. Mommy has a purpose. They see my challengers, my coaches. They know what I do, and I get to show them that we get to travel. Mommy gets to stay home. We get to do these fun things because I do a job and I do it to the best of my ability, right? Also, like I said before, like, I've never been bolder or closer to God in my faith. And that is not something I'm bragging about. He did all of that, but he definitely used this business, because I like to say that we have first world problems. Like, we don't have to rely on God for where our food's going to come from. We know we can have a drink of water if we want to drink water, right? But I feel like for me, this is something that I've completely had to be dependent on him. I've had to depend on him for the words. I've had to depend on him for the desire to show up and work. I've had to depend on him on those months, on those days where I felt like I was working and not getting anywhere. It's like, God, do I just keep going forward or do I quit, right? I had to depend on him to link me with the people that he has put in my path already, through social media or through whatever it is. Like, that's all him. And it's definitely something that Rachel has not built herself. I've just been a vessel, like, available to do what he has called me to do. And he blesses the work. And so, like, I give him all the credit for it. And so those are the biggest ways that I would say, obviously financially too, that's been a gift in itself. But, and that's, I don't mean to shoo that. That's amazing for our family. But, those are definitely the biggest things that have changed in my life in the past 5 years. Okay. And so that is my story. Like, that is my story. That is my vision for my team. I want to help other women do the same things. And like I said, after this call, I will email you the recording, but as well as a document that tells more about coaching and the details of it. But right now, like, I kept it at 30 minutes. I think I kept it under 30 minutes. I want to know, like, do you guys have any questions for me? You see what I do. You see what I do every day on social media. You guys are in my challenge groups. So you know what I do there as well. But like, is there anything that you have questions about? I can answer questions about anything, or you can just email me your questions too. I don't care, but I don't want you to be shy. Like, it's just us. Do you guys have any questions for me? Let me unmute. I can. Okay.
Hey.
Hi, Carla.
I don't have any questions, but I do want to say I appreciate all that you've done and the opportunities that you give us and just your encouragement every day. So that's what drew me to your post, was the encouragement that you want to help. So do you have the desire to help other people? Yes. But am I scared to death? Of course.
I don't think you'd be normal if you weren't scared. Like, honestly, I mean, unless you've done something like this before, like I had never done anything like this before. And I think still people in Corinth, Mississippi, when they see me post or they see me walking around the grocery store, they're like, Rachel? Like, Rachel's doing that? It still surprises me sometimes whenever I think about what I do, for sure.
I think that I think that my fear is like more people that I do know than I don't know, like everybody that you're already friends with on Instagram that are like in your town, like you were just saying. Yeah. I'm just like, I don't know.
Yeah. I think that, so let me speak to that specifically, because, when I was a new coach, like Beachbody was not huge around here. It really wasn't. Like, I didn't know anything about Beachbody or Shakeology or challenge groups or anything like that. Like, my first experience was my first experience. And, when I came out as a coach, I had lots of people that were interested in what I was doing and what I was offering. But like I said, honestly, where I live is a hard market. And as much as I hate to say this out loud, even the faith-based community of where I live, does not encourage health and fitness, like in any way whatsoever. And so people wanted a quick fix. People wanted to be able to take a pill or a patch. I can't tell you how many people have done pills and patches and things like that, but they're not honestly willing to do the work. And so I think that, and that's one of the things that drew me to Beachbody, is because you have to do the work to get healthy. You can't just like do it for 21 days and boom, you're done, you're fixed, right? It's long term, and I want to help people long term. And so a lot of people here have joined my boot camps. A lot of people have stuck with it. I do have a lot of people who are still with me long term, but there are a lot of people who are not. And honestly, I often viewed myself as a failure because other people didn't stick with it. But at the same time, God has taught me a lot about, you can't force people to do something they don't want to do. But also, a lot of people who did try it early on and didn't stick with it have come back. Why? Because I continued to be consistent, because I continued to show up on social media, because I continued to encourage them even long after they had dropped out, canceled their Shakeology, all that stuff. And I think too, Shannon, like, I think often, like, that kind of stuff bothered me a lot in the beginning. It really influenced what I said when I posted, like who I invited. And I think back often, and I see a lot of people, honestly, who don't start because of that, or they start and somebody says something negative to them and they quit. But I think, like, oh gosh, like if I had let that stop me in the beginning, like I would not have met, and, just the people like you guys, like, I mean, I'm looking at two people who are complete strangers to me 5 years ago, and like, just what a blessing this has been in other people's lives, but also in mine, because I will tell you, like, some of the people that have come into my life and influenced me from a faith standpoint, just because they joined my challenge group first, like, I mean, it's incredible. And I'm so thankful every single day that I didn't let those worries stop me. And now I'm like, I see people and it's changed me. Like, it's changed me. I worry so much less about things like that now, and so much more about, like, who can I help? Right. Yeah. But that is a very real concern and, fear, because I had it too. And some days it's still like, I see people and I'm like, oh, she dropped out of my challenge group. Like, and I just have to be like, Rachel, no. It's kind of where it goes. But I'm glad you voiced that concern. Do you guys have any more questions for me?
I don't think so.
Did y'all, are y'all loving the challenge group though?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Good. That's awesome.
It's definitely keeping motivated. So yes, I enjoy seeing everybody's posts and the recipes for the shakes and everything's out there. So
there are some really, really cool people in that challenge group, like amazing people. So I'm excited to see y'all all like interacting and stuff.
It's cool. I am not brave enough to post a sweaty selfie yet, but it's coming. But it's not going to be glamorous.
Someday. Yeah, someday. There's good filters in that app. You can use a filter.
There are.
They're nice.